students and families, we're going to go ahead and start our Averett nursing video, and then afterwards we'll start our presentation. Enjoy.
My name is Jordan Turner.
My name is Jack Garrett.
Hi, I'm Emily DeMoy, and I'm a senior here at Averett School of Nursing.
My favorite thing about Averett is the family atmosphere. Here at Averett, you are in a class of maybe 10 to 15, so it's really one-on-one. You really get to know your professors.
My husband actually came up here for a medical residency, and I was a lab tech, but I wanted to go back to school for nursing. I want to do more for my patients. And when I was looking at nursing programs in the area, I saw Averett. I heard wonderful reviews. I heard that they had a great program, so I figured why not apply? And here I am. Hey, Mr. Edwards, I'm going to listen to your vows, okay?
As a previous Averett alumni, I knew that when I decided to go back to school to obtain a nursing degree, I knew that I wanted to come here to Averett. The small class sizes really set us apart. We get to know our faculty. I know working as a tech and being in the hospital setting now, I'm confident in myself. I'm comfortable with change and being uncomfortable in situations, and that's a necessary skill for nursing. All of our cohort has job opportunities lined up well before we are able to graduate. So we know that we're going to continue our nursing education further, even after graduation.
It's really great working on the sims here because it gives you a chance to really show off your nursing skills.
The one biggest takeaway from our simulation lab is that we get the support we need to increase our critical thinking skills and become comfortable with uncomfortable situations that will arise in our future nursing careers.
I like The Sims. It's a good way for us to get practice, to get feedback in real time. We actually kind of take it as an opportunity to teach each other, because if you can teach it, it means you know the skill like the back of your hand.
Oh, Shapiro.
All right, Mr. Shapiro, I'm going to put an armband on you, okay? Are you in any pain?
Can you hook him up to the EKG, Jordan? All right, Mr. Shapiro, I'm starting you on some oxygen. Fully this oxygen going.
His heart rate's down to 29.
All right, he's coded. I'm gonna call a code. Put it back now.
You start compression. You can keep compressively doing that stuff. Shocking. Did you see if you're like,
Mr. Shapiro?
Can you hear us, Mr. Shapiro?
Ow, that hurts.
I'm sorry. You just had a cardiac arrest.
All right, too much. All right. In the other room?
You just saw was us running a simulation.
Brief before our simulation, and we run the scenario, and then after the scenario, we debrief and talk about things that we need to pay closer attention to, things we need to change, and then we can rerun it and try to correct issues that we had during our simulation.
One of our senior classes, that critical care class, teaches us the VTAC that you saw when the monitor was going off, and that we recognize that as an immediate sign that we need to start a code and start compressions.
Be ready for defibrillation.
Way it's similar to how you'll be in real life, where anything can happen. You can be talking to your patient and suddenly, bam, code time. Staying alive with CPR.
All right. How cool is that to start things off? Welcome, students and families. My name is Brad Johnson. I'm the Vice President of Higher Education Partnerships at Plexus. I'm honored and excited to serve as the moderator for today's event. This workshop is scheduled for 60 minutes long, and this evening's event will focus on, as you can guess it, nursing. Each of our esteemed panelists will help you our audience of students and parents navigate your nursing degree journey and discuss a roadmap to success. The second part of our workshop will include a Q&A section. So you'll notice at the bottom of your screen right here, you can click on the Q&A button and ask questions. So remember, throughout the presentation session, you can go ahead and ask questions, and then go ahead and ask them obviously in a written format, and our team will answer as many questions as we possibly can. Additionally, Averett senior leaders, including this evening's speakers, will answer questions and stay online for 10 minutes after the workshop presentation, because we want to do our absolute best to answer all of the questions that do come in. Towards the end of our session, we will highlight a few questions for our panelists to answer verbally. Additionally, we do want to mention that we'll have a poll at the end of our presentation, our session, which needs to be completed in order to earn the workshop. And you will also earn a certificate as well for attending the workshop. Here's what that looks like. So again, keep in mind, stay through the duration, complete the poll, and enjoy the presentation that is coming up. All right. So joining us today are senior leaders who will again discuss the nursing journey, including admissions requirements, financial aid, student expectations, and also a career perspective from a healthcare profession. So the workshop speakers include, as you can see, Karen Oakes, Matthew Mann, and Leslie Sturdivant. We're going to go ahead and kick things off with Karen Oakes. She has an extensive amount of experience in a variety of different leadership roles as it relates to nursing. So who better to talk about the experience that she has had, but also that our students and family members could also have as they go forward. Karen, I'll go ahead and hand the baton over to you. And Karen, let's make sure that there we go. And also your video is on as well. There we go.
All
Perfect.
right, great.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
All right.
Thank you, Brad.
Absolutely.
Welcome everyone. I'm so excited that you are here to join us, and I'm going to share a little bit about the nursing profession with you. So did y'all know this is the 22nd year in a row that nurses have been ranked as the most trusted profession in the United States? Nursing is a career where you can make a difference in someone's life every day. A nursing career offers versatility in various specializations, such as intensive care, med-surg, geriatrics, labor and delivery, the emergency room, pediatrics, and the OR and neonatal. There's so much more. This is a great profession to consider if you have the desire to focus your life's work on helping people in need, and if you like the sciences. So by choosing a nursing career, you can positively impact the lives of others and contribute to your community. So we'll talk about licensure requirements. So navigating the licensure requirements. So what does this mean? So a licensure is the process by which the boards of nursing will grant permission to an individual to engage in nursing practice. This permission is granted after determining that the applicant has attained the necessary competency. And they do this through where you'll hear taken about the NCLEX and taken boards. So competency is required to perform a unique scope of practice. In the United States, the competency is governed by the National Council Licensure Examination. And you just heard me say the word NCLEX. So that's what I was talking about, NCLEX. A critical step here is graduate. You have to graduate from a nursing school that allows you to receive a diploma or a degree. So you cannot practice as a nurse unless you pass the NCLEX exam. And passing the NCLEX exam is mandatory for licensure. So becoming a registered nurse is a rewarding career path. when you become a registered nurse, the doors open to many different opportunities. And we're going to talk about the advanced practice registered nurse. Um, so this is where you would get your bachelor's degree. And then if you wanted to go on and get your advanced practice registered nurse, this is what we'll be talking about here. So this is achieved through a graduate education. So your master's degree, and you specialize in a certain nursing practice. So the first thing you have to do is get your bachelor's of science degree. And then you attend a nursing school that offers a graduate education. So an APRN can specialize in various areas. So many of y'all have heard about family nurse practitioners. So they specialize in family, emergency, some in mental health, pediatric, adult gerontology, neonatal, that's working with little babies, and women's health. And then we also have clinical nurse specialists who are nurse anesthetists, nurse midwives, and I don't have this listed, but also you can include nurse educators. Next slide. So our Dean's Insights, so she just wanted to share some of this with you. In 2022, there were 155,000 RN graduates. So this includes 73,000 from generic entry level BSN programs, and the registered nurse employment is expected to grow by 6% from 2022 to 2032. So with the 193,000 projected annual openings, that's a whole lot. So this increased demand is expected to lead to more opportunities for career advancement and higher pay for nurses. There's a current shortage of nurses to meet future needs. So producing well-educated nurses is crucial for better patient outcomes, reduced mortality, lower readmission rates, and shorter hospital stays. So facilities that have a higher percentage of BSN nurses benefit from these improvements. Now, the challenges for nurse education is to produce the best education nurses, because research indicates that there are better patient outcomes, lower mortality deaths, like we said, and lower readmissions. So data shows that healthcare facilities will have a higher percentage of BSN that their patients benefit. So that's really important for hospitals to look at higher end BSN nurses. So let's talk about why Averett. So higher education in nursing, and we're talking at the BSN, is particularly relevant to nursing. So the BSN educated nurses, they complete nursing coursework as well as in mental health issues. So that's your psych courses, humanities, ethics, and social sciences. These classes will allow one to broaden their knowledge base in culture, economic, and sociological issues that may impact their patients and situations encountered in the practice. So Averett provides an atmosphere. We have very small student-teacher ratios. The interaction in the class and simulation is a 1 to 10. Averett provides a wide variety of exceptional clinical experiences. So if you choose Averett, your clinicals, you'll have them in long-term care. So that's nursing home. That's your very first semester of nursing school. Community hospitals, magnet medical hospitals. And we also do service learning, and that's part of the nursing curriculum. And this will provide students the opportunity to participate in a service activity that will meet the community needs, such as say like working at the homeless shelter or the food bank, or my students have been doing service learning projects, teaching hands-only CPR. So, and they've done that with the National Student Nurse Association. So there's a club that you would be able to join too. So as a BSN graduate, you can join the elite group of BSN nurses that are prized for their skills in critical thinking, leadership, case management, health promotion, and for their ability to practice across a variety of inpatient and outpatient settings. Y'all, our graduates are all over the world working. We have them in North Carolina, Ohio, Florida, Maryland, and in different types of settings. Averett is also accredited by the Commission of Collegiate Nursing Education. We call that CCNE. And this is the most credible form of accreditation recognized by the U.S. Department of Education. So this signifies that our program is recognized to provide effective, quality education practice. Another significant fact about Averett is our May 2023 BSN graduates' performance on the NCLEX exam and the MSN graduate performance of the FNP certification exams, that both of them achieved 100% pass rate. So here I'd like to share the curriculum plan. So hopefully you guys can see this. And you'll notice that Bio 101 is the very first class. So if any of y'all are, let's say, sophomores or juniors, go ahead and try to take advanced sciences. This will help you tremendously, because then when you come to Averett, more than likely it would transfer in and you could start in anatomy. And this would help your course load. Now, let's say some of y'all are seniors and you're like, wow, I didn't take any advanced sciences. That's okay. You can start right at the Bio 101, or you may choose in the summer to take a Bio 101. But anyway, you can see you start at 16 credits. So if you want to lighten that load, you could go ahead and get that course out of the way. So I'd like to end just by saying becoming a nurse requires dedication that all of y'all have, and you will be rewarded through having a positive impact on other people's lives. You'll have growth opportunities in higher degrees, certifications, you can go with leadership roles, and you also will have competitive salary and benefits. Thank you, Brad.
Hey, thank you so much. That was excellent. We really appreciated. We really appreciate your insight, and I love how you're laying out the curriculum plan. You talk about the differentiators, why Averett is different. So thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Now we'll go ahead and turn to Leslie Sturdivant from Sovah Health, Market Vice President and Dean of the School of Health Professions. We're very excited to have her here as well, because she can speak from that business angle, and getting that education, what that can lead to. So we really look forward to sharing your experiences as well. So Leslie, go ahead and take it away.
Good evening, everybody. So who we are, Sovah Health is a regional healthcare delivery system serving communities across the Piedmont region of Southern Virginia and Northern North Carolina. Our system, which is also part of LifePoint Health, which is a national healthcare organization, is comprised of a hospital with 2 campuses, one in Danville and one in Martinsville. We have more than 20 primary and specialty care physician and imaging clinics, a school of health professions, and we also have physician residency programs in internal and family medicine. In addition, we're really proud to be an academic teaching site, not only for our resident physicians and medical students, but also for nurses, nurse anesthetists, nurse practitioners, pharmacists, physician assistants, and many other healthcare professionals on any given day across our campuses and in our clinics. We actually have had as many as 100 learners across our organization. Our organization is also proud to really maintain numerous federal, state, local licensures and accreditations. And so when thinking about the value of a healthcare degree, there are so many. A health sciences degree equips everyone with critical thinking and problem solving, communication and research skills that are essential for success in any field, but especially in healthcare. But really, let's, I guess, talk about the value of having a nursing degree. So research tells us that nurses are the most respected profession in the healthcare today. And you don't have to read that to know that that's true. You can go into any healthcare organization and see how well nurses are respected. In addition, having a nursing degree today, as you heard Karen say, almost guarantees that you're going to have a job at the end of getting your nursing degree, making a really good salary, but it's also going to have provide you or afford you the opportunity to make a critical impact on society. I'm not a nurse. I'm in the background. I'm an administrator, but just even being able to provide resources and tools to the nurses that are out there doing the work is one of the most rewarding things that I've ever experienced. And I never thought that I would be in healthcare. My sister is a nurse. She's always loved nursing. The more she's a surgical trauma nurse, the more blood and guts is that's her thing. Scents and smells kind of make me queasy. So I never thought I would be in healthcare, but I never thought about myself behind the people that are really out there making the magic, the heroes. And so again, becoming a nurse, regardless of being able to always have a job with a well-paying salary, it really is one of the most rewarding things I think that you would find you could do. Also, as a nurse, you'll have the freedom to work anywhere, domestically or internationally, and you also have the flexibility to take advantage of just a variety of different careers. We have nurses in our organization that don't just work at what you would typically think of as being clinical, but they work throughout our entire organization. And when we're recruiting for nurses, we look for nurses that are compassionate and empathetic. We look for nurses that are excellent communicators. We look for nurses that are really good critical thinkers, because the delivery of healthcare is complex. It grows more complex as the days go by. So it's really important for nurses to have well-developed critical thinking and problem-solving skills when a patient's condition rapidly changes, especially for patients in the hospital. Patients that are in the hospital now are among the most sickest, and so things change quickly. So critical thinking enables a nurse to recognize important cues and respond quickly. We also look for nurses that are resilient and flexible, because you will hear, if you ever meet our market president, Steve Heatherly, he'll tell you, and he tells our leaders and our staff, healthcare is challenging. And it becomes more challenging as the day goes by, but the day-to-day demands of nursing are many. So those that are able to really bounce back and cope successfully despite difficult circumstances, those that are able to handle situations and make changes to find solutions that are they're the ones that are going to be more successful and provide a greater care experience for patients and families. And those are the nurses that are really going to be able to find the joy in everyday nurse work. And then we look for staff who have a willingness to learn. We encourage all of our staff, our nurses, but all of our staff to be lifelong learners. Healthcare is constantly changing. What we think we know today changes next week or changes the next day. And so staff, any healthcare staff, especially nurses, must be willing to continue to improve and expand upon their skills and their qualifications, which kind of leads us into what we're really proud to have is a really unique partnership with Averett University. And so last year we were extremely fortunate and proud to enter a partnership with Averett that allows all of our full-time excuse me. Last year, we were really fortunate and extremely proud to partner with Averett on a partnership that allows all of our full-time employees to participate in Averett online undergraduate and graduate programs at little to no out-of-pocket cost to our employees. So our full-time employees can participate or enroll in any Averett online graduate or undergraduate programs, and they basically pay nothing out of pocket. Our tuition assistance and partnership with Averett allows Sovah to cover that for our full-time employees. And I can tell you that one thing about healthcare professionals is that they want and they need to learn. And as a health system, we want and need them to want to learn, and patients need them to want and to learn, because again, it's important to keep skills current. And again, that's because healthcare constantly changes. And so our partnership with Averett allows our staff to keep their skills current, but it also allows our staff to upskill. It allows them to go from an RN to a BSN to an MSN with Averett. It allows them to look at other areas that they may want to become expertise in. For instance, we have nurses that work in our health informatics. That's our IT. And so they can go to Averett and get a degree in computer science that helps them as a nurse to be able to work in health informatics. And so that's something that we're really proud of, is this program. Clinical experience and subspecialties. We provide clinical rotations and experiences for RNs in our organization. We have a nurse residency program for our new graduates that we hire. Well, let me step back to say that we have clinical rotations, but we also have nurse student positions. Typically when a student is in their last 8 months of training, we will bring them on as a nurse student. That's a paid position. And these are positions that we're hoping to recruit nurses into. So once let's say you're finishing your BSN, your RN program, and the last 8 months or so of that program, we will hire you into a position. And basically what that last 8 months is doing is preparing you to transition to a full-time employee position. And then you stay in that position until you pass your boards, and then we will transition you into a full-time RN position, BSN position per se. And then you'll enter our nurse residency program. So our new nurse grads are not just put out into our organization. Our nurse residency program is typically a 12 to 16-week program where our nurses are really prepared to enter out into the organization. We want to make sure that they have tools and resources and connections, and they're well prepared to be successful in the organization and provide really good care to our patients. And there aren't too many nurse subspecialties in our organization that we don't have opportunities for nurses to become involved in. And we really work hard to find out what somebody's sweet spot is, what really someone is passionate about. You know, we have nurses in infection prevention and epidemiology, oncology, pediatrics, labor and delivery, women and children, cardiovascular, gerontology, family medicine, health informatics, like I just said, behavioral health. We have nurse educators, nurse faculty, orthopedics, nephrology, nurse administrators. We have LifePoint has a program for nurses that want to get into administration, you know, going from a nurse, a BSN, to an assistant chief nursing officer, and then a chief nursing officer. So there's a wealth of opportunities for nurses. It is not a career path that you will ever regret choosing. And the nurses that I know say they don't know that they chose nursing, but that nursing chose them. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Brad.
That was great, Leslie. Thank you so very much for that very informative session. And you know, I think what our students and families heard from there was, I mean, great information. Sovah Health obviously offers a lot of flexibility as far as options for students and parents, nursing obviously, but gosh, there's a lot of other healthcare specializations which students and families can look at. And you definitely have an excellent conduit between Sovah and also Averett, as you heard as well. A couple of things I just wanted to mention before we turn things over to Matthew Mann. Continue to ask questions in the Q&A section. We have questions coming in, but don't forget to go ahead throughout the presentation. You can ask at any time. And then I would also mention that at the end of our presentation, we will have contact information, our speakers' contact information, so direct phone numbers and emails. So if you do have follow-up questions, I know that our speakers would love to hear from you directly. And then with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Matthew Mann, the Director of Admissions at Averett University. And Matt brings just a great perspective, great experience, having been at Averett as a student and now as the Director of Admissions. So he has a wealth of information which he'll cover, which will include admissions and also financial aid. So I'm very excited to introduce Matt Mann, and I'll hand the baton over to you.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate it. And again, I just want to welcome everyone tonight. One more time, we work with quite a few nurses, and I know nurses are a very passionate group of people, and there's no secret why you all are here listening to some of the experts in the field, as well as kind of getting the most information you all can get about this process. So speaking of the process, my next slide is going to kind of show what we're going just to quickly talk about tonight when it comes to applying to colleges and then applying to the School of Nursing and things along those lines. So first and foremost, you're going to hear me harp on it over and over again during my presentation, but the college visit it's in our opinion, the most important factor in deciding the college you would like to attend. So my shameless plug real quick is going to be, we also know that nursing students love experiences. They love to get their hands dirty. And so next Friday, September 13th, we do have our Nursing Experience Day, which is more than just coming to hear about information about the nursing department, but also getting your hands dirty, doing chest compressions, doing IVs, sitting in live nursing classes, and having a chance to do more than just gather information. We kind of have a motto here: experience over information. So we want to make sure you all have a chance to kind of get your hands dirty a little bit and experience what the nursing profession can look like. So again, we're going to talk a little bit more about the college visit. We're going to talk about applying for admissions, and then we're going to get into some of the weeds of financial aid, and then we're going to kind of talk about some additional ways of earning scholarship money, and then just getting ready for the school that you're looking to attend in the fall. So the college visit, like I said, you're going to hear me harp on it a lot. It is, in our opinion, and data also shows, it is still the #1 deciding factor in helping you choose the college you would like to attend. Obviously, like I said, you all are here tonight as students looking at the School of Nursing. So you're going to be whittling your schools down to make sure they have nursing schools, and obviously looking at the demographics of the nursing school, how competitive they are, how many students they let in. All those things are going to kind of help narrow down the schools that you're going to be looking at. So at that point in time, you're going to be deciding what type of visits are you going to be looking to take. So you're going to have some options, and I can speak on behalf of Averett. You're going to have options like open houses, which are going to be big general days where you can come get information in a big, large setting. You're going to have a chance to interact with faculty. You're going to have a chance to hear from leaders on campus. And this is going to be something that most schools are going to offer. Also, we're going to offer things like experience days, as I mentioned before, with our nursing event. We also do this with some other majors as well. You're also going to have a chance to do private visits. Private visits are where you have a chance to go to the college and have a one-on-one tour with a tour guide or in small groups. And this is something that we do very well. It's what we do every single day. And so this is a chance, if you would like to go to a college visit and get more kind of those questions answered, and not necessarily want to ask in big, large settings, those are great options for you as well. And again, most schools are, lastly, most schools are going to have an option that are going to be something like a scholarship-based event. We have a scholarship day. We have multiple scholarship days every year where you're allowed to be invited back to campus to actually interview with faculty members and earn additional scholarship money. So again, that's one note to just kind of think scholarship money. We're going to talk about that later, but how that stuff starts to add up, and you can get kind of good idea of how college can be affordable. During the visit, we always go back for real quick, Brad. During the visit, we as counselors love to have conversations. You're going to learn really quickly. I like to talk, and so we want to chat with you all, and we want to know the questions you have to ask. So again, I'm gonna plug real quick, as Brad mentioned, as I'm talking in mission, define, select things. If you have questions that you want to ask about nursing departments or specific nursing-based questions, those experts are here to answer those in the chat. But we often encourage students to come with a couple questions prepared already. Also make it fun. Have a question prepared for the tour guide. That's typically going to be a student. And so maybe ask what brought them to the school they're touring, what keeps them there, or whatever it might be. Some fun questions to think about asking tour guides will kind of make that visit experience pretty unique. So again, after your campus visit, we're going to start talking about how to prepare those applications, right? You've narrowed down the schools that you're going to apply to based on some of your visits. And I often use my story as a great example. Growing up, I graduated high school in 2004, and we usually applied back then to 3 or 4 schools, our top school, our safety school, our reach school, all those types of things that we used to call them. And I often just went in blindly to my applications before college visits, but my dad encouraged me to let's go do a college visit. And so I knew the school I've always wanted to go to my whole life. And within about 5 minutes of my college visit, I knew I did not want to go to college there. It was kind of a sad realization because I had gone to football games there Saturdays, all fall or whatever it might have been. But when I actually got behind the scenes and met students and met faculty, I was like, this may not be somewhere I see myself having great experience or the experience I'm looking for. And so that's why I often encourage students. Again, one more plug, that visit's super important. Now, the reason the next slide shows up, so for Averett, we're located here in Southern Virginia, and within 100 miles of us, you can see it's quite a large radius. And if you're familiar with Northern North Carolina or the southern part of Southern Central Virginia, you would know there are a lot of schools in this circle. Schools like Virginia Tech, schools like Duke University, schools like Averett, small, private, big, public, it doesn't matter. You're going to have a lot of schools that you're going to have an option to visit. So again, encourage you all to get out there and see those places with your eyes and meet those people. And again, see if it's the experience you're looking for in college. So you've done your visit. Now, here's one more plug that I mentioned earlier. I said it's going to keep showing back up. That nursing experience day for us, again, is next Friday. If you want to come get your hands dirty, I know Karen had a lot of great activities planned last year for our students, and she's going to be with you all this year as well. And you'll have a chance to sit in one of her classes. So it's going to be a great day if you're looking to get more than just kind of a cookie cutter visit experience. I would encourage you all, again, if you're on your phones, just to take a quick screenshot of this if you're looking to register, because that QR code will take you directly to the link to register for that event. So again, great way to just pop a quick screenshot. You can sign up for that at a later time. So you have, again, done your visits. You're ready to roll. You're ready to start applying. What's next? So then this is going to be more for those who are rising seniors or current seniors starting these college applications. You're going to see lots of different terminology when it comes to the college application. One, you're going to see things like Common App. Common App is a great way that a lot of schools will allow you to fill out one application and funnel that to many different schools. Some schools aren't going to participate in Common App because we might have our own things in-house that we deem even easier than a Common App. So for instance, our Averett application usually is going to take you less than 5 minutes to complete. We really make it streamlined and easy for you all. So essays, this is a cliche thing to talk about, but trust me, I've sat on enough scholarship committees over the years to know how important this can be. But have essays ready to roll when it comes to scholarships and college applications. Go ahead and start pre-writing some of those, because when those times come, you need those quickly. You can quickly edit them. And you can quickly find some good topics and ideas to write those about with some Google searches. I know usually the AP and College Board will release some of their prompts, and you can kind of get some good ideas of what those might be. Now, you're going to see the term test optional pop up quite a bit as you're navigating your college admissions, your college applications. Test optional means test optional. It means you do not have to submit an SAT score or ACT score. It does not help you on your application. That said, it can still help you with scholarshiping depending on what scholarship guidelines can be. And so I often encourage you, if you have an SAT score, still submit those in to test optional schools. But just again, know it means if you do not have one, it does not hurt you. It does not help you, but it can again help with some scholarshiping type of things. And again, you're going to see some things, some other terminology around early decision, early action. Make sure you're asking the schools questions about, are those decisions binding? Some schools will make their early actions binding decisions. So if you apply and you get accepted, that's the school you're going to. And that's great. If that's where you know you want to go, hop in and try to get one of those early spots. But if you're shopping around schools or not really sure or still in the middle of those visits, you might want to think what those look like, or excuse me, what that how that can affect your decision. Regular decisions are going to be what most schools, or a lot of schools, are still participating in, but it's going away more and more. This is going to be where you would apply and you would have a waiting game. You're going to wait until March to find out your big decision. That's great, but it's hard for planning. It's hard to wait that long. So most schools are going to what's called rolling admissions, where we make decisions every day of the week. And so meaning that as you apply, as you get your things to us, we're going to make a decision for you. So again, it's a quick turnaround. It allows you to plan maybe some of your college visits around the schools you've been accepted to. It really helps out when it comes to just again navigating this on a real time kind of schedule and wanting to know things a little bit quicker. So one thing I did want to mention when it comes to applications, as Karen mentioned, most schools, if not all schools that you are looking at that's going to have a school of nursing, are going to have two separate applications. So you've been accepted to the university. This is going to be your general admissions application. You're then going to go through a school of nursing application, which is going to be how you get accepted to that school's, again, school of nursing. Averett, we have our requirements. It was requirements like minimum grades of C's in classes, minimum GPA requirements. There's a test required, called a TEAS test, which are going to be pretty standard from school to school. But just know that's a separate kind of step. So you've made your decision. You've been accepted to the school you're looking to go to. Ask yourself those questions again. Are they now going to offer the experience I'm looking for? These are when you're going to start asking yourself some real questions and start trusting that gut instinct that you may have when you walked in on campus. Are they going to offer, I'm looking for Greek life. I'm looking for a club specific to my major, as Karen mentioned, a nursing club. Are those things important to you? Make sure those schools are going to have those. Now, at that point, some of you all may have already started applying and have been accepted. Some of you guys may have already got those decisions from Averett, and you're ready to go ahead and make a decision. Most schools are going to ask for what's called an enrollment deposit, and this is just kind of that sign of, hey, I am planning to attend. We often encourage families to submit these when you know you're ready to make that decision, because this is going to unlock a lot of those next steps for you all in the enrollment processes at schools. So like, how do I start housing? How do I start signing for orientation? All those types of things. That's what enrollment deposits are going to unlock for you. And so for Averett, we do offer what's called an early deposit award. So you want to go ahead and get on top of that. If you deposit by December 1st, you will receive a scholarship of $1,000 per year. And this is, again, just another way of adding up some easy scholarship money and how to make college more affordable. So if this is something that you are, hey, I know my decision already, this is where I want to go, we highly encourage you all to take advantage of things along those lines. Some schools are going to offer that, not all schools, but again, it's something that we at Averett are very, very, very happy to offer. Now, we've kind of gone through admissions things. When it comes to admissions, my last plug would be feel free to ask admissions office questions. Admissions counselors, most schools now are going to have their contact information readily available. So you have a face and a name of who to contact. Feel free to ask those questions to people because they're there to help. They're there to to answer your questions, and they're there to really walk you all through what the enrollment process at that school may look like. So that said, I can speak on behalf of my staff. When it comes to admissions, we then take the reins of helping families through the financial aid aspect of college. And so that starts with the FAFSA. The FAFSA is going to be called the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. We're going to get all into that here in a second. But this is how 99% of families kind of kickstart the financial aid process. And we're going to kind of hop into that now. So you all may have heard a lot of things about the FAFSA changes last year. You may have had other students in your household going to college, and you all have done the process. It is still kind of an ongoing update by the federal government, but I will tell you from someone who's been in higher ed for over a decade, this process is much more simple now than it ever has been. You probably have heard horror stories of a daunting FAFSA, and that's no longer the case much anymore. So we're going to kind of talk a little bit about why they did that and how that helps you all as families earn some additional scholarship money. So what you all need to know, and this has always been my plug when it comes to the FAFSA. The FAFSA stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. First word being free. The most important word being free. If anyone ever asks you to pay them to help you with their FAFSA, I often tell families to be very cautious. Excuse me. The schools will often offer FAFSA nights to walk you all through the process. Counselors will make themselves available, but again, I can speak on behalf of one of the counselors on the call tonight. She will do a FAFSA with a family in person if they want to walk in and help and need help through that process. So never pay anyone to do it for you. There's tons of resources and tons of help out there to get that process done. So as the FAFSA has been updated, there's been, like I said, you all have heard some changes. So the next slide, we're going to get into some of those changes and what this is unlocked. So the FAFSA, again, I talked about it being a simplified process. When the FAFSA, before this update happened, the FAFSA was roughly about 140 questions. So a daunting process that required you to submit tax transcripts and all types of legal documentation. That is gone. They have narrowed the FAFSA down to only 44 questions, if I'm not mistaken. And so it is streamlined to make the process much more simple. This is something as a private school, we often have a conversation with families about when they go, hey, we make too much money. We're not going to apply for aid. We go, the FAFSA is pretty simple now. Go ahead and do so because you don't know the types of monies that you're leaving on the table by not doing one. And we'll talk about why that's important a little bit later on. But you can see here, it has expanded Pell Grant. More families qualify for more aid than they ever have. So it's one of the reasons why it was important for this update to happen. So when it comes to a timeline for my families here of seniors, we are still a little bit up in the air of what this year's timeline is going to look like. And that is hot off the press from the government. So what we're being told is that the FAFSA should be open for all of you all by December, which will allow you all to start filing by end of year. Now, March is when we are being told that schools at the latest can expect data. That said, I expect us to start getting financial aid data much quicker, which means we can start getting financial aid packages to you all much faster. And that goes for behalf of all schools because these are things that are coming from the federal government. And so as you're looking at using financial aid as a means of making your decision, just know those will start coming sometime after the new year. And so you will start getting financial aid packages, start seeing breakdowns of cost, so you're able to make smart decisions when it comes to the schools that you're looking to go to. So again, these timelines are going to change this year. If you're currently in this process, Just keep asking your admissions office questions because, again, we're always going to have some of the most up-to-date information from the Department of Ed when it comes to what that filing process is going to look like. So my quick tips when it comes to the FAFSA. What you're going to need this year in order to do the FAFSA is, first and foremost, the form. It is found on studentaid.gov or FAFSA.gov. You can type those into browsers and those are easily found. The one thing, again, I will tell you all, .gov is the key word there. Make sure you see those in the URL because that will ensure you're on the federal websites. That is going to be where you file those FAFSAs and get us that information in order for us to put together an award for you all. Studentaid.gov is going to require you all to have 2 accounts. So for families, you all are going to need what's called an FSA ID, which is going to be your login information. You'll need one for the student and one for the parent. If you are a parent who is currently in school or has been in school and used the FAFSA recently, that FSA ID is still tied to you. So you will not need to recreate a new account or anything along those lines. You should be able to just reclaim that account and access that same information. You will need some information about your taxes readily available. Most times nowadays, though, the FAFSA will pull that information for you in what's called a data retrieval tool. So the days, again, like I said, of having all that data in front of you are kind of long gone. The FAFSA, the kind of last thing I will mention is the FAFSA does operate 2 years in the past when it comes to tax data. So we call it prior year. So for the 2025-26 FAFSA, you all will be using your 2023 tax information. The FAFSA, again, is filed for the year you will be in school as a first-year student. So that, again, was the 25-26 FAFSA. Now, again, I know I said last thing before, but the last thing I will mention about the FAFSA is you have the opportunity to send that up to, I believe, 15 to 20 schools now. So you can send those on to all the schools that you're looking at, and they will be able to put together a financial aid award for you. So as you're filing all these filing all this FAFSA talk and scholarship information, if you're kind of trying to get an idea of what that cost would look like, or what an award will look like, I've put together a sample one for you all for a student that's pretty average here at Averett. So you all can kind of see, after all this is said and done, what a financial aid package can look like. So Brad, next slide, please. So going through these awards, as I mentioned, there are lots of times there are a lot of opportunities for scholarships and grants available to you all that you may not be aware of. And this is, again, where admissions offices and financial aid offices come in to help. So for us, this student is one of our Founder Scholarship students. This is a student who's accepted with an average GPA. So a Founder Scholarship is our merit scholarship that we award at admissions. And the student is receiving $17,000 every year and just an initial scholarship based off their merit. We kind of have an adage here that hard work pays off. Students have been told their whole life that hard work pays off, and it does. And we actually put a value to it. And so that's something that you see there is the Founder Scholarship for $17,000. This student took advantage of the early deposit award for $1,000. One thing I failed to mention earlier when it came to our visit day, I was so excited to talk about the experience that you all would have, that you all actually still earn what's called a visit grant by attending that day. That is a $1,000 grant that you all earn every year just by visiting campus. So this student took advantage of that. And this student did take advantage of one of our scholarship events. And that's what the Academic Enhancement Scholarship is. A student who did come and take an interview with a faculty member. And so these are all scholarships that this student has been awarded just from Averett, not based off their income, not based off their FAFSA, literally just awards that Averett has offered this student. Now here, if you are a resident of Virginia, we here in Virginia are quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Quite lucky to have a program here in the state that allows our families who choose to go to private schools to still receive some type of state funding. It's called VTAG here in Virginia, And so it's for over $5,000 is what you would receive from the state of Virginia by choosing to attend a private school. So that goes for any private schools here in the state of Virginia. It's something that that's very helpful, obviously, for a lot of our families, and something that you all can expect. Now, this is when we start talking about some of the things that the FAFSA calculated. So Pell Grant is going to be that federal need-based grant, which is, again, almost $7,400 that the federal government has given this student. But this student also received $4,210 in what we call Averett assistance. This is additional money that Averett's willing to help a family out and give additional funds to just by filing the FAFSA. So again, this is why I often encourage you all, if you think you make too much money, you never know what you're leaving on the table by filing the FAFSA and getting that in and seeing what might be available to you. So again, just a quick sample of awards you all can see. Now, I know I mentioned the merit-based scholarships. That might have enticed you all a little bit. So some more details on those. So again, Averett and a lot of other schools are very, very fortunate to be able to offer a merit-based scholarship based off your GPA. And it's the way we do a calculation to make it fair. It does based off of GPAs and some of those hard metrics. Again, just to create a fair scholarshiping process. But we offer scholarships that range, as you all can see, anywhere from $20,000 a year down to $3,000 a year. Some schools will advertise things like this and say, hey, the presidential scholarship is $20,000, but they know they may only have 10 of those they can offer. Averett, we have the ability to offer as many of those as we possibly can. So if we have a class of all presidential students, we would give every one of them $20,000. And so again, you all can see that here, just another reminder of some of the additional funding that may be available to you through your state. So wherever you might reside, make sure you're checking with your state governments, because again, they may be able to offer a program that you could transfer out of state with some of those additional funding. Last and not least, other scholarships and grants. So Averett Assistance Grant, which we talked about, which is one of those awards you qualify for through your FAFSA. If you are transferring them from a community college, or you have an associate's degree, you may have been invited into PTK or Phi Theta Kappa, which is their honor society. We do offer a scholarship for those students. We see more and more students nowadays with associate's degrees that come to us out of high school, and so that's something that we see more and more. More that we're able to award more and more. The Plexus Visit Scholarship. This is something we're very proud to partner with Plexus, our host tonight, that they are able to help award to families. Graduate Merit. This is something that you may or may not have in your local community, which is kind of a program in high school that puts you through additional community service projects. And we actually will honor those and give additional scholarship money for that. And then we talked about federal grants and state grants. If your family is in clergy, or we do offer some additional scholarship money for things along those lines. But the last thing I'll mention is when it comes to private scholarships, our nursing students are usually very on top of things, and most of them are asking questions about scholarships, are looking for those monies. And I have a few little kind of tips to help with that. The biggest scholarships obviously are going to have the most competition, right? So those big $10,000 Coca-Cola scholarships and things are great, but I just really encourage you all to think small. We see students all the time come in with multiple $250, multiple $500 scholarships. So make sure you check in with your churches, with your local civic clubs. Your guidance offices are usually where places stop to drop off that information. So those are still great resources. And again, just contact your admissions office. Most of them are going to be keepers of a lot of those scholarships as well. So at the end of the day, we want to make sure this is affordable, a reality for those who want to be here. And again, that you're able to chase your dream of being nurses and working in healthcare. And like I said, at Averett, we just want to make that affordable for you all. And so again, I think we're going to have some question time, but I think that's it for me. Again, I appreciate it, Brad. Thank you all for being here tonight.
But Matt, thank you so much. That was great information. We really appreciate it from an admissions side, financial aid standpoint. And then you see the slide one more time around the nursing experience. Please feel free to go ahead and scan the QR code And now, as far as our next items in the presentation is, please remember to continue. You can continue to ask questions throughout the presentation. And we're going to go ahead and throw out a couple of questions and have our esteemed panelists go ahead and chime in and provide some answers to those questions. As I'm doing that, we will also have our poll. Please make sure to complete the poll. And we'll go ahead and start off with a question. And so this question it's probably geared towards Matt, but again, I'll kind of open it up for everybody. So as far as scholarships and financial aid opportunities, how do I make sure that I don't miss out on opportunities? I know you had mentioned some resources, but how do you make sure I don't miss out?
Yeah, and I know that's a great question, Brad. So I kind of had to buzz through that at the end. And my biggest plug when it comes to that again would be contacting guidance offices and admissions offices. We have people who contact us and say, hey, we have a scholarship available. Do you all know anyone that will qualify for them? And so typically people who are looking to give out money are also looking to figure out a way of getting the word out that they have money to give out, if that makes any sense. And so guidance offices, admissions offices, that would be where I would advise you all to start to make sure you're not missing out on those opportunities. They're going to be kind of those, again, at the forefront of who's finding out that information.
Hey, this is Leslie. There are also, if there are foundations in the area, for example, in Danville, Pennsylvania County, there is the Danville Regional Foundation and the Community Foundation of the Dan River region. In the in the Martinsville, Henry County area, there's the Harvest Foundation. And so then there are some educational collaboratives across the region, but those foundations, based on what an individual is studying, will provide some scholarships. And then the foundations will also, like during summer sessions or winter break, will provide some paid internships. So that's a good place to look as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's to Leslie's point. Places like community foundations are a great way of streamlining your scholarship search as well. I know, speaking on behalf of the one here locally, if you're wondering, hey, where are all these scholarships housed? Lots of times, at least here, they have one application that will allow you to feed into all the ones that you may qualify for. So it's an easy way of doing one application and potentially qualifying for many different scholarships. So that's a great resource. Thank you, Leslie.
Excellent. And we'll ask a few more questions. I know we're running up on the hour, but we do have several questions coming in. And so I definitely want to make sure that we address at least a couple more. So this question, again, I'd throw this out to the group. It might be Leslie starting out. How likely am I to get a job after graduation?
You will get a job before you graduate. You will get a job before you graduate. And the choice of where you work will be yours. Again, as I said, at Sovah Health, we bring our students in and even provide stipends for our nurse students that haven't actually graduated or passed their boards. But it's a commitment per se. And then there are sign-on bonuses for nurses. But to go back to your original question, the only reason you would not have a job before you graduate is if you don't want a job before you graduate. You won't wait until you graduate to get a job unless that's what you want to do.
Question that came up.
Karen.
And, Karen, please go ahead.
Yeah. I would definitely say Leslie's right about that. You will have a job before you graduate. Also, when you start your very first clinical, you are basically, think of it, not only are you working to meet your school requirements, but you're actually being interviewed by the managers there. There's leadership walking by. When you are walking around, I would say Danville in your uniform and it says Averett University School of Nursing, you are on an interview right then. You just don't know it. But yeah, you will have a job, and you could have that job when you're a junior. So
Excellent. Thank you so much to everyone for helping me answer those questions. And then another question that did come up, and Matt, this may be for you, but again, I'd include Karen and Leslie. You know, when you are on the tour, or again, I think just, you know, a presence as a prospective nursing student, or maybe even a graduate, what are those questions that students and families should ask?
Yeah, so when families tour campuses, like you said, there's a lot of cookie cutter answers that you all can find, cookie cutter questions that you all can find that honestly are easily accessible through most websites. So we actually encourage families, like I said, to think outside the box when you come prepared with questions. Come some prepared for maybe faculty, if you happen to have a chance to meet them. Come prepared for questions for a student that you're like, hey, I want to ask this question when staff's not around. I really want to know what they feel about it, or whatever it might be. That's really going to give you the authentic experience. But when it comes to schools of nursing and you're really looking for some of that data, as Karen mentioned, you want to ask questions about job placement rates, where you all doing your clinicals, because our clinical sites are going to have a wide kind of variety of experiences that are going to be offered to you. So again, as you're kind of pinpointing where you do want to work and what specific type of work you want to do, kind of having those questions ready are going to be great in getting and making the best of that experience for sure.
Excellent. Karen, did you want to add anything? I saw you went off mute there, so I just wanted to give you.
I did. Yeah, thanks.
Sure.
So I hope you guys take advantage and come on September 13th. I have a group of students that will be there. And if you're shy and you can't think of a question, they're going to just tell you so much more information on a student's perspective. And so some questions might be, can I work while I'm in nursing school? How much can I work? How much will my books cost me? What's the hardest thing about nursing school? How do you take care of your mental health? So there's so much that you'll learn from students, but also you'll have faculty, you'll have my class to visit, you'll have another professor to visit, and we'll just show you around. And we just hope that you guys can come and take advantage of that.
Excellent. Well, I think we're up at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock Eastern. We want to thank everybody, students and families, for attending our event. Again, keep in mind, you know, hopefully you were able to complete that poll as best you can, and to earn the gift card and also the certificate. We've also put the get in touch slide here. I wanted to spend a little time on this just so that you have direct contacts with Karen, with Matt in particular. And then Matt, do you just want to briefly mention?
I'm sitting there smirking because in my notes I actually had a big old. I just wrote Carl with exclamation marks. But for those who are here with us tonight, Mr. Bratcher is our director of financial aid. He was not able to make it, but he wanted to make sure you all had his information. But that way, if you all had more specific questions about your situation or your family situation that may affect your FAFSA filings, he's going to be a great resource in helping answer those questions. So again, he wasn't able to make it tonight, but he did want me to make sure that you all still had his personal email address and office number. So again, a great page to screenshot here. That way you have this contact information if you need any of us.
Well, excellent. Well, to Leslie, Karen, Matt, thank you all so very much for your time and presentation. And most importantly, thank you so much again to the students and families. This was very exciting, very informative. And this will end the presentation section, but we will go ahead and turn off the presentation screen. But again, we will all stay on for another 8 to 10 minutes just to make sure that we answer questions that continue to come in. So thank you very much, and have a great evening.
Thank you all.